So this is the gas hot water. It's the only source of hot water in the van, and it's located just behind the driver's seat, in the habitation part of the van, and it's quite simple. The black central dial indicates the temperature that you want the water at. If you put it too high, it takes a wee while to heat up. It's very, very hot water, so you have to be careful with the taps, with kids around as well. So you simply, it's an on and off button basically. So the inside's the thermostat, and the outside button is the on and off. At the moment it's off, you turn it to the wee gas icon and it goes on. Now you should hear a little click, and that's the gas firing up. And then in behind the dial there's a green light. If it's green, it's happy. If it goes red, it's not happy. It usually means it's run out of gas, or it's not getting a gas supply. So that's hot water, and that'll work either while camping or hooked up to a 240 volt site. So this is the Truma Ultra Heat central heating, and it only works on a campsite on a hookup. It won't work 12 volt or while camping. You have to use gas, the gas which is in another video, for the while camping. This is 240 on a hookup site. Simple again. It's the inside is the thermostat. You can set it to whatever you like, and the outside that's it switching on. So depending on what kind of site you're on, and the voltage that it puts out, you click it to, they're all on. So you'll probably run it between 500 and 1,000, and there's a green light in behind. It's maybe hard to see just now, but there's a green light to tell you that it's working, and so it's basically off and on. So this is part of the Truma Ultra Heat as well. Again, it'll only work on 240 or on a hookup site. Will not work 12 volt or while camping. So thermostat from 1 to 5, fan from 1 to 5. It'll blow it around the various vents. You've got automatic. You can set it to come on and off at a certain temperature, and you've got on. That's basically it, but it will only work on a hookup. So gas central heating, you could use this anytime when you're hooked up to a 240 to a campsite or while camping. It's a standalone gas heater. You've got a dial from 0 to 10. It's the narrow end that is the pointer. So you've got, to start it, you turn it up to 10. This is an igniter, and this is your temperature setting. So to start it, you hold the dial setting down and you press the igniter, and you hold that for a little minute and then let go, and you hear it sort of firing up. And in this hole here, at a certain angle, I don't know if you'll see it on the camera, but if you look at a certain angle, you'll see a blue flame down that way, and that sort of indicates that it's on. So it's as simple as that. And to switch it off, all you do is turn it to 0, and that's it. So cooker, just like a household cooker, choose the ring you want, turn it, hold it in, press the igniter, and it should fire up. Hold it for a second to get it started, and that's it. And turn it to the off position. Same with the oven and the grill. They've got igniters in there, so it's the same idea. Just make sure you close the lid before you travel. So this is your main control panel. in the Swift Escape 624. Everything works off the power button. Switch the power button on. You'll notice that the leisure battery lights up. This indicates how much power you've got in your leisure battery. Also, if you're plugged into the mains, it tells you that you're plugged into the mains on a campsite. So everything works off power. You can battery select, so you can choose to work off the vehicle battery, which is not advised. You're better to leave that, forget about that, because if you run down the vehicle battery, it won't start. So for battery select, always choose leisure battery. And it's shown that there's lots of power in the leisure battery there. If it gets low, it starts to beep, but you can simply start up the van, or if you're plugged into the mains, it'll charge the battery for you. So that's battery select. You can view levels, so it shows you all the levels of your leisure battery and your vehicle battery. Your wastewater tank, it's saying that it's 0, so it's empty. Your freshwater tank is nearly full, so you can double check what levels you've got in the various things, and you've got lights, and some of the lights work 12 volts, some of them work 240 volt or hookup, and you basically switch it on and off when you need it. Sometimes it'll switch off itself just to save power, and you just go and switch it back on. The last thing is the water pump. You need that on to work anything that you're gonna, all the taps, the shower, the kitchen sink, the bathroom sink, and the toilet flush. So the water pump has to be on to work all these things. Again, sometimes it'll switch off just to save power, and you just click it back on again. And the van works out whether you're on 240 or 12 volt. It'll figure it out. You don't have to switch it between the two. It's quite a good system. So as soon as you plug your 240 hookup lead in, you don't really have to do anything else. The van figures it out. So these are normal household plugs. We have various things in the van that will work off these, like a kettle, TV. You can use them as for charging things. They'll only work on a site, on a hookup, a 240 hookup, when your hookup cable's in. We've also got a 12 volt, which will only work when the van's parked up, this one. It won't work when you're travelling. It switches off when you're travelling, but you can use the TV that's provided in the cupboard below this unit. If you're on a hookup site, it'll work off 240. If you're not on a hookup site, it'll work off 12 volt. There's also an aerial, and there's a TV, there's an aerial cable, and there's an aerial in the cupboard, in the wardrobe opposite this. That'll be shown in another video. This is the TV aerial located in the tall cupboard on the offside side of the van. It's got an on and off button, and it's got a low and normal setting. There's instructions on how to work it on the wall. If you need to put the aerial up to find a signal, you unscrew this screw and you can push it up, and you can move it around to try and find a signal. Just always remember and bring it back down again for the travelling position, or it can damage it, and then lock it back into place. Toilet, flush, blue button. It'll only work with the water pump switched on in the main panel. Basically just a flush system. Swirls, does turn to give you a wee bit more room. So once, so you can flush, and there is a lever underneath the toilet that gets rid, pull that to one side, and it gets rid of the waste into the cartridge underneath. Always keep it closed or it can splash. So that's how to work the toilet. And bathroom, shower. It's a wet room, so everything will get wet. There is a curtain to pull round for when you have a shower. One tap for the shower, one tap for the sink, hot and cold. It does get very hot quite easily, so be aware that scalding hot water. Fridge is a three-way fridge. It's got a temperature setting on the right hand side and power choice on the left hand side. So at the moment it's at 0, so it's off. You can switch it to gas, mains electricity and battery 12 volt. When you're travelling, keep it on 12 volt battery because it'll keep it going, and it'll work off the vehicle battery. It'll keep the fridge cool. When you're on a site, you're better to, if you're hooked up on a site with a hookup cable, use the cable. And the gas, very rarely use it. It'll work on 12 volt quite easily for a good few days if you're wild camping. Your battery, the fridge will never pull down your vehicle battery. It may pull the power out of the leisure battery slightly, but not much. You can switch on the gas if you want to, and to do that, switch on the gas icon, turn the temperature high and hold the temperature dial in, and you should hear a click, and that should be it fired up on gas. There is an inspection hole inside the fridge, tiny little hole that if you look in there, I don't think you'll see it on the film, but if you look in there, similar to the heater, you do see a flame to indicate that it's on. But essentially I would keep it on 12 volt. Bed above the cab, stores in the up position if you want to while you're driving, or you can leave it down, it doesn't make any difference. Simply take the ladder off the top and hook it on. Make sure it's in both hooks. That's how you access the bed, in and out. There's two beds in the lower part of the van. A single on the near side on the vehicle, and you can either sleep in it like that or take the cushion off and make it a wee bit wider. So that's the bed on the near side. The bed on the off side of the van, driver's side of the van, you use the dining table on this lip on both sides. That's how you make up this bed. The dining table on the lip, that fills in the space, and then you use the cushions to fill in the space to make the bed. Cushions from here, and there's one there as well. That gives you a bed there. You can also, if you want to make up the whole area as a bed, you can pull out these parts. Get a bit panel from underneath the top bed. Use that to fill out the middle. Use these and other cushions to fill out the centre part, and that gives you a massive bed on the bottom.